Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Bonjour, buongiorno, bom dia, buenos dias, guten morgen, Ohio, gozaimasu. Doesn't matter where you are in the world right now. You are watching STEPHE'S talk show. I'm Steph. Welcome. In today's episode, we will uncover the secrets behind exceptional hospitality, explore the future of luxury services for the world heli. I have the wonderful pleasure to welcome a man who has redefined the art of service for the 21st century. Vincent Vermeulen is the founder and CEO of the School of Butler and Hospitality in Belgium, Europe's leading academy for training world-class butlers and hospitality professionals. Vincent, welcome. How are you?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you to you for giving me some of your time, and I'm very excited to learn a lot about your industry. This is an industry that I don't think is very niche-oriented industry. I don't think everybody knows everything about it. So let's dig it in a little bit more. You want to tell us everything? Okay, let's get started by just introducing yourself. Can you start by telling us your journey to the world of butlering and hospitality? But obviously, from the very beginning, how did you come to this?
Absolutely. I mean, you're going to be surprised, but it started 140 years ago in 1884. Yeah, I know I still look amazing. But it started with my great-grandfather, who was actually already a butler here in Belgium. So my family has been in hospitality for 4 generations. My parents had a restaurant where I grew up in. Then I changed that restaurant into a catering group with my brother. We sold it, and I went to England to become a butler. And after that career, I started the school in 2013, so about 12 years ago. So it's always been there, and it's the only thing I've ever done in my life is hospitality. It's the only thing that I can do. Don't ask me to play the piano because I can't. But that's how it came about. And in 2013, we started in Brussels, very small, in a hotel, in a seminar room. And the rest is history, which I'm about to tell you.
But you are originally, you are from Belgium?
Absolutely. So I grew up at the Belgian coast. And for the viewers who don't know Belgium, it's in the heart of Europe. It's kind of divided in the sense of 2 languages. In the north, we have Dutch or Flemish. And in the south, we have mainly French. But that's where I grew up. And that gave me also the possibility to learn multiple languages, since there's a basis of 4 languages integrated in the education system here in Belgium. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just recap what you just said, because you said that that's coming from your family. You are coming from a family of butlers. Okay, so you became a butler. For how long did you do butlering?
I did it for a couple of years. So I started my training in 2001. I started the school in 2013. So in between there, I was butlering. I was also consulting, because at the end of that period, I did more of consultancy. And then I took all of that knowledge. And previously, obviously, I have been an entrepreneur and a business owner. So and then in 2013, I took all of my knowledge in hospitality. I took all of my knowledge in entrepreneurship and started the school.
Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to understand, because we have a lot of people. I mean, some people do butlering and become butlers, but doesn't mean they're going to do and open a school, actually. So that's interesting to see. I need school of butler, because you already have, I would say, the fibers of entrepreneurship, and you feel like you have what it takes to go and open a school of butler and hospitality. So for those who are not familiar, what exactly does a modern butler do?
No, that's actually an excellent question, because, the word butler has advantages and disadvantages for us. The advantage is people are still intrigued. It's still very mysterious. The disadvantage is that it has changed so much over the years. Yeah, it's no longer Downton Abbey. It's no longer remains of the day. The modern butler these days are lifestyle managers that communicate faster than ever before. They travel faster than ever before. Clients have changed. They have to be tech savvy. They have to be up to speed on the latest restaurants. They have to know fashion. They have to know it all. It's like what we call a Renaissance man. Leonardo da Vinci, he could draw, he could sculpt, he could paint, he could do whatever. And that's what the modern butler is. We're like a Swiss Army knife. That's what we are.
Wow. So a butler needs to literally know all of the different fashion and a bit of everything?
Well, if you work for people like we work for, these people invest in a very lovely wardrobe, with designer clothing and what have you. So you have to know as a butler how to take care of it. If you don't know how to take care of it, at least you have to know to whom you should go. Who are the experts in the market? Do you go to London? Do you go to Milan? Who can, fix a stain on a Chanel dress? These are things you have to know. So even if you don't know how to do it yourself.
And okay, I will ask my question later because but first of all, I want to know, how does working for the ultra high net worth individuals differ from working in a luxury hotel or yachts or other hospitality environments?
Oh, that is completely different. 95% of our students, they go into private families. A small amount goes to hotels, embassies, cruise lines, all of these things. Now, what's the big difference? If you go to work in a hotel, you are what we call a commercial butler. You have to make money for the organization. Basically, you're selling the services. As a private butler in a family, you're not selling anything. You're creating time for the family. So it's a completely different way of working. It's a completely different mindset. So that's where the big difference is. And of course, if you work in a hotel, you've got new guests every day, every week, every month. At the private butler, you have one client, which is the family you work for. And that means that the relationship with the customer becomes really intense, really fast. Because butlers, sometimes they see babies being born in a family. They see those babies grow up and leave the house, go to college, pets, being a puppy, or unfortunately passing away. You become a part of the family. And that is something which you don't have or have a bit less in a hotel.
That's very interesting. That's also, I think, very particular in terms of a lifestyle, right? As being a private butler. It's like you know, decide your own life, kind of, and you just become a part of your client's life.
Exactly. Absolutely true.
Okay. Let's focus on the school's experience now. Could you walk us through what a typical training program looks like at your school?
Absolutely. So we started out with a 4-week training 12 years ago. So it was 4 weeks. Like I said, it was in a seminar room. Then about 12 months after we started school, we went to our own location where we created an 8-week live training, right? Since last year, we moved to another location again. So last year, we recalibrated butler training again. So what you have to know about our school is that we're quite modern, we're quite progressive. So what we see, for example, when we had our 8-week training, students have to take 8 weeks out of their time. They have to travel around the world to get to us. So 8 weeks is quite a long time. So what we did was we used the most modern tools to reduce those 8 weeks to 4 weeks again, but we have created a hybrid training. So there's a part distant learning. Then the student comes to Belgium for a 4-week live training where the distance learning materials are applied straight away. And then after the 4-week training, there's like a 2-week follow-up distant learning. So we keep taking care of our students even after they leave the school. And this is quite unique because mostly you leave a school and that's where it ends. So in total, you're spending about 10 to 12 weeks in order to gain the knowledge and to apply everything you have learned. So that means it's quite intensive because our students, they live in the school. So they have a room, they maintain the school, they train in the school. We got live guests. So they're basically up at 6 o'clock in the morning, getting ready, getting breakfast, getting groomed. Then they got lessons. Then we got dinners. Sometimes we go all the way till midnight. So it's a 4-week high intensive training. And I think it's one of the most intensive one in hospitality. But why do we do this? They're not to annoy the students. This is because we have seen that the results are incredible. They're incredible. Okay. We have seen students actually transform in 4 weeks' time. And when we ask students, what did you think of the training? The one word that they all use is life-changing. So we perfected it over the last 12 years to make sure that in 4 weeks, we can make sure that we have a life-changing training. And we got the stories to back it up, of course. We've got students who went from zero to working in the most amazing places in the world, flying private jets more than I could drive my car. So that's how we do it. Yeah.
So 4 weeks at your school, and for what I understood, you don't need to have a very big or strong background or academic background. So 4 weeks for students, they kind of know the basics, I think, or of the butlering. And then, if I understand well, right away you place them in the family.
Well, there's one thing to say. So it's not only the 4 weeks live; it's quite a long bit before as well with the distant learning. So they have a few weeks and months before they arrive. They already start studying, doing assignments, sending us videos, sending us documents. So it's quite a bit of preparation work before they arrive for the 4 weeks. Then indeed, when they graduate, we have people already having a job as a butler.
Oh.
We have people who are being sent by leading brands. We've got people, for example, from Rolex boutiques coming do the training to go back to the boutique and offer amazing service. Or we do have people who have just a career switch. They want to do something else in life.
Yeah.
And those are the people essentially looking for a job. What we do is we bring them in contact with our partners. So the first type of partners we have is recruitment agencies. We've got connections in London, Luxembourg, South of France, everywhere around the world. And actually, we take them to London. We bring them into the offices of the recruitment agencies. They got the opportunity to present themselves, and most likely they're going to find a job. If they don't find a job, it's because they don't want a job. So that's quite clear. The second type of partners we introduce them to, obviously, are our former students. We've got hundreds and hundreds of former students who are working in households and always on looking for good people. So that's an extra opportunity they have as well. So that's how it goes.
Okay. And what is the most surprising or unexpected skills people learn in your program?
Wow. Maybe it's cybersecurity. I don't know. We've got trainings in barista training, in cybersecurity, in personal protection, in handling shotguns, in wine, in champagne, in serving, in clothing, in shoes, you name it, we do it. Yeah, chauffeur, for example.
Okay. And what's unique about your curriculum compared to other butler schools worldwide?
Well, of course, we respect the traditional values, and we've got table dressing and all of these things. But I think where we make the difference is that we're quite modern. So, for example, things like integrating cybersecurity and first aid training and visiting private jets. These are things that we're quite unique in. We also keep looking at the future. I can tell you, for example, for the next training who's coming, we've got some new things coming, and we actually look at every training like an iPhone. I mean, every iPhone that comes out has a new feature, and that's what we do as well. So, for example, last year or 2 years ago, we introduced project management. So they get trained in project management because sometimes the principal will say, "Hey, let's put up a new pool or a new pool house. Who's going to oversee the project? Might as well be the butler." So that's what we train them in.
Great. Tell us a little bit more about in terms of the market data. I personally from the UK too, so I do know in the UK this is quite a strong market in terms of butlering and high quality hospitality. So now I'm learning there is also a school in Belgium. But in the world, like what is the top countries that actually offers these services? I don't think we have this in every country.
You mean the services of butler training?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's mainly Europe. To be quite frank, it's indeed the UK still, of course. We've got Belgium here. There's a few initiatives in France, for example. There's an initiative in the Netherlands. But and then you've got some branches. You've got European schools branching out into the Far East, for example. Yeah, there's a few initiatives in the United States. So there are quite a bit of initiatives. But the unique thing with us is that the students come to the school, they live, work, breathe, and study in the school. And that is very unique. Most of them, for example, in the UK, you don't have any residential butler schools. That means that students go in the morning to a seminar room, they get trained, or they get, they even get into, like a bedroom to train and all of these things, but they don't really run the estate. So there are very, very few schools. There are only 2 schools in the world where you as a student run the estate. And that's where we're very unique. And why Belgium? Well, because we're in the heart of Europe. I mean, we're 3 hours away from the Champagne region. We're 2 hours away from London. We've got the best fries in the world. So it's an obvious choice.
Okay. And give us like the top 3 or maybe top 5 maximum of the nationalities of your students, where they come from.
That's a tough one. We literally have people from all over the world. We have people from Guinea, from Mauritius, from the States, from China, from everywhere. We got somebody now coming in November from Hong Kong. We got them from all over the world. But of course, Europeans will still be the top the top nationalities. Yeah.
Because it's more developed in Europe. I mean,
well, and also because it's just closer. It's closer to home. So, I mean, I don't see European flying all the way to the United States to do a butler training if they have one just around the corner. But the opposite is true because Americans are coming to us. So that means we're doing something right.
Okay, so from preparing individuals to serve in the most exclusive private household to designing bespoke corporate training programs for prestigious brands, like you mentioned, also Louis Vuitton or, as you say earlier, Rolex.
Ritz-Carlton Yacht Collection and Rolex and absolutely.
Which is about elevating the service to an art form. Can you tell us a little bit more about this, about the corporate brand?
Oh, when I started the school, the CEO came to me of a car brand, a big car brand, and he said, "Could you train my team?" And I said, "But you have salespeople selling cars. I train butlers." And he said, "If I can have my sales team having a butler service mindset, that would be amazing." And that CEO was absolutely right. So we started training companies, and we've been doing it all around the world. So I'm an international keynote speaker. I go all around the world talking about the school. But then companies will, for example, ask us to train their sales team, or hotels will ask us to train their front office staff. We do banks, we do airline companies. And that's why I've written my second book, which is called Gastology 2.0, which is a complete system to integrate customer service in any possible organization, even hospitals, even care homes, you name it, because with the tools that are just around the corner, such as AI, the human factor will always make the difference. And that's why we're very, very busy.
Wow. So what kind of corporate training do you provide exactly for companies?
Yeah. So we have a training which is called Gastology 2.0 based on the book. We also have etiquette trainings. We also have trainings in terms of language. So how do you speak to a customer? For example, our butlers in the training, they cannot use the expression okay or no problem.
Yeah.
So if you don't use it in a sales conversation, instead of using okay, you're immediately going to use an alternative, which is going to level your customer experience up in less than a few hours. So we teach companies to talk in a different way, to integrate their DNA into the language of their product or service. So for example, if you look at Rolex, for example, they will never talk about a watch. They will talk about a timepiece. So Mont Blanc, the pen, the writing, they call it a writing instrument. They will never call it a pen. So when you change your language like a butler, your sales are going to increase exponentially. And that's basically what we do for companies, just in 30 seconds.
You're actually responding a little bit already about my next question, which is actually why do you think luxury brands choose your school over other training providers?
Well, first of all, if you look at luxury brands, we've seen in the last few months that certain luxury brands are in trouble. They're in trouble. It's going down. One luxury brand, I won't name names, just took on a CEO from a famous car brand to elevate their sales again. The thing is, the products are not competing. I mean, if you look at handbags, Hermes is an amazing handbag. Louis Vuitton is amazing. It's the human factor that is competing. If you look at hotels, you're not competing Marriott versus Hilton. You're competing with the guy behind the desk, the guy who's willing to go the extra mile. That's the one you're competing with. And that's why they call us, to train the guy who makes the difference. I mean, cars, for example, there are no bad cars anymore. Technically, all cars are pretty good. But when you walk into a showroom of any brands and they treat you badly, you're not going to buy the car. You may as well go to another showroom of the same brand or go to a different brand. And if your friend if your friend says, "Why don't you consider this brand? They were amazing in customer service." You're not competing with brands. You're competing with people. And that will never, ever go away. And that's what we do.
This is very interesting, to be honest. A little bit, just one more additional thing about your clients, specifically businesses. Is it including also governments?
Yeah, absolutely. We do embassies. We train the Belgian military. So we have, Belgium, for example, sends out people all around the world as an attaché or a diplomat. So we train those people as well. Definitely. Government, we for example, we trained people in Suriname of the government. So the country just above Brazil. Oh yeah, there's quite a bit of interest from all different industries and
different backgrounds. Okay.
Interesting. And what you probably don't know is that we even train children. We train children in etiquette.
So tell me more about it. Like, you train children, like from what age?
From 8 till 14. We train them in how to behave, how to eat, how to behave when you go to a sleepover or when you're at grandma's. Put the toilet seat down, eat with your mouth closed, little things like that. And all the children coming to the training don't want to come. But when they leave, they're our biggest ambassadors. And the most beautiful story I can tell you is we had a girl coming to the etiquette training. She was 13 years old. And about 8 years later, she became a butler in our school. So that was the most amazing thing to see. Yeah. And we put the two pictures together. It was absolutely amazing. Yeah.
So, this is interesting right here because, to be honest with you, when it comes to children's and the way they behave, obviously through the years, it became worse and worse. So, you're training kids. I think it's more about how to behave, more than butlering, but it's also kind of related, but on a different scale, I would say. Do you think once those children go through your training, do you see a strong result and also a long-lasting result? I would say, is it working?
It's only a 1-day training, right?
Oh.
But it does stay with them. And the strange thing is, last year we were watching TV, and there was a cooking show for children, and the chef working with the children said, you're very well behaved. And they said, well, we went to the Butler school and we had an etiquette training. So, and that was 2 years ago. So it sticks with them. And the most funny part is when they go home, they train their parents. So whenever mom does something wrong, they correct mom. And that's the best compliment we can have.
So nice.
Absolutely.
Love it. Okay, let's just focus back to your students from the Butler School. So what kind of career opportunity can a Butler School graduate expect, both in private household and luxury brands or hotels?
Oh, there's many, but of course you have to know what you want, right?
Yeah.
First of all, you need to know what location you want to go. What country, what location you want to go, what city. Do you want to work a lot? You only want to work in the week and not on weekends? Do you want to see your family? Do you want to work with your family? Maybe that's the first step, right? The second step is up to you. You can choose whatever you do. You can work on a super yacht. You can work on a cruise line. You can work in an embassy. You can work in a hotel, a private family. You can work in a restaurant. So it's basically the choice of the student themselves. And we had the good fortune of hotels, restaurants, families coming to us asking for our students. So that's great as well. Yeah.
This is something I feel, I feel like Butler schools should be included in general schools in general.
Well, you're not the first telling me that.
That would make a big difference, to be honest. I think it's something that's missing in our global education system in general.
It is.
So,
but don't tell them or I'm out of business.
So next question, how do you maintain actually the discretion and confidentiality in this industry, which often involves working with very private individuals?
Oh, that's a very easy one. We teach our students one of the most difficult elements ever of a butler, not only to be discreet, but also to work at the highest level. And that element is discipline. It's, getting up in the morning and reaching that level every single day, if you feel like it or if you don't feel like it. And to be quite honest, I think that is the big part missing in the world today is discipline.
Yeah.
But it's so very hard. I know. And if you look in society, at people that are quote unquote successful in the eyes of society, they all got there through discipline. Whether it be people coding 18 hours a day or people opening 10 shops in the span of 3 years, it's all about discipline. And that's what we really try to. And the thing is that you could ask the question, how do you teach this? Because, for example, if you teach children etiquette, there's a part discipline. Sit up straight, eat like this, eat like that. So how do you teach discipline in 2025? Because people they're very touchy. You cannot say anything anymore. So the only way to do this is to be the example, is to be disciplined yourself. And what I see, my instructors, myself, we have a very high level of discipline. And what we see is that our students become copycats. They do what we do. And almost automatically, they apply the same discipline. We can never be late as an instructor because then they can be late. We need to tie our tie. If not, they don't do it as well. So discipline more than ever is all about being the example. And that's how we do it.
Great, great. You already mentioned a little bit about it earlier, but let's dive a little bit more into how is the butler profession adapting to the modern technology and changing lifestyle. So earlier you mentioned, for example, training in cybersecurity, for example, which is a way of adapting to the today's world. What else? Like, how do you adapt in general?
Well, that's the problem. It's not.
Okay.
It's not adapting. And we try to be at the forefront, but it's a very lonely forefront. You've got schools where you still have students ironing newspapers. You know, this is a thing that butlers used to do. They used to iron newspapers. This is 2025. Try ironing an iPad. It doesn't work, if you know what I mean. So we have to rethink this whole profession again. I mean, I think personally that a butler should be more skilled with a laptop than with a fork. That's my humble opinion, right? The traditional value should still be there. They should still be able to serve at table and open a bottle of champagne with grace and poise and what have you. But we have to get into the new game, and that is not happening. We at the school are constantly refining hospitality, redefining it. But it's a lonely and a very long process. And what we try to do is we try to focus on the right things to do first and gradually upgrading this profession. Yeah.
Yes, totally. Let's just, go into facts.
Right.
In terms of, because butlering and hospitality in general, through the years changed completely, and people's behavior, not only children's, but also adults, parenting changed, everything changed in terms of knowing how to communicate, how to behave, how to with each other and live together. So my question is, how do you see your expertise going in the future? Because I feel like the world is not going to be better. And I think people like you to maybe try to reduce the mess and the disasters that is happening in today's world. But how do you see it going in the future?
Well, we have another training, and that training is called Butler versus AI. So we have a training where we explain what the butler can do, what AI can do, right?
Okay.
Now, here's a spoiler. At the end of the presentation, I tell everyone that the tools of the future are the tools of the past. What do I mean by that? However the world is evolving, we will always appreciate a smile, a kind word, and a pat on the shoulder. That will never change. And that has been going on for many, many years, many, many decades, many, many centuries. So my plea will be, start with the basics. Be human, be kind, be motivating, be humble, especially be humble. And then all the other modern stuff is and always be only tools. I mean, from prehistoric times, we have been as humans tool builders. We cannot do anything without tools. A bike, a knife, the wheel, fire, they're all tools. AI is just another tool. But the intrinsic human characteristics, such as caring for someone, which hospitality is, it's the art of caring, that is something which is not a tool. It's inside us. And when you let it out, I mean, I've been to luxury shops where they sell items of above 10, 20, 30,000 euros. And I've been to a shop in the middle of the desert where they sell stuff of 2 euros. Oh. And they're way more kinder than the ones in the luxury boutique.
Yeah, sure.
So if you want to define the future, use the tools of the past.
Wow, that's a nice sentence.
Thank you.
Okay. So now let's, for someone considering enrolling, what advice would you give them before they take the plunge?
Oh, well, normally, when they have the idea to become a butler, they should tell as many people as possible. When those people, their families say, oh, that is really something for you, then you're on the right track. On top of that, they should never become a butler if they don't love caring for people. Because sometimes, and you cannot always spot this, but sometimes we have students that come to the training in order to get into the luxury world, to be around big cars and nice houses. Wrong choice. You're going to be very unhappy. So once again, it's what goes on inside.
Okay. All right. So before we come to the ends, I have put together a little quick fire quiz for you. But I have the question and you have to respond right away. Let's go. One skill every host should master at home.
Every host. Smiling.
Smiling, yeah. The most luxury setting you ever trained in.
Household in Staat, in Switzerland.
Okay. One thing luxury guests notice instantly if it's missing.
The art of caring.
Okay, interesting. What's the single most impressive service gesture you've seen a butler perform?
It wasn't a butler. It was somebody sweeping the floor at the airport in Qatar. He was sweeping the floor. I asked him where the toilets were. He put away his brush and he walked with me for 200 meters, opened the door and wished me a great day. It was the lowest paid person in the whole airport, but that was the best service I ever got.
You see, that's the kind of thing that now we pay attention to. And before, we could see this a little bit everywhere. But yeah, congratulations. That's a good one. If you could train any brand in the world that you haven't yet, who would it be?
Apple.
Hey, Apple. Okay.
They're doing a great job, but I would love to have them on my list of yeah.
Wow, why Apple?
I just like the brand. I like their philosophy. I like how they look at innovation. So yeah.
All right. So the biggest etiquette mistake people make without realizing it.
Leaving a napkin on the table when they go to the toilet.
Leaving the napkin on the table when they go to the toilet.
You should leave it on the chair.
It should be on the chair.
Never on the table.
But I think everybody does that.
Well, that's why it's the biggest mistake.
Like literally, I don't think I ever seen somebody put the napkin on the chair before.
It should be on the chair.
All right. A must-have tool or accessory every butler swears by.
A very nice pen.
Yeah, true. All right. And if you had to describe true luxury in 3 words, what would they be?
In 3 words?
Yeah.
I'll do it in 2 words. A warm welcome.
3 words.
Well, that's 3. A warm welcome.
A word? What?
A warm welcome.
All right. All right. So that's it for our little quiz. That was quite interesting. So before we close and end this interview, finally, if someone listening right now wants to hire a professional trained butler or book a corporate training, how should they go about it?
Oh, very simple. schoolforbutlers.com, or they can look me up on Instagram. I'll be more than happy to answer.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Vincent.
My pleasure.
Clement, once again, thank you for watching STEPHE'S Talk Show. I look forward to see you next Saturday. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye.